All right, we are live. A little bit of a late start time, technical difficulties, they do happen, but CCW Insider is back. I am one third of your CCW correspondent, Tyler Cashmere, here joined by Lizzie Almeida and Axel Rome. How are we feeling, Axel? I know you're excited about tonight.
I'm excited about tonight because there's so much to talk about. It's Bash at the Brew 41 after the biggest I know we say this time after time, the biggest bash that we've ever had, but it's true. Looking at it from a standpoint, since I joined, every month that we are doing CCW's Bash at the Brew, we only one up the previous one. So I'm always very excited when the match card drops, and I'm excited to talk about the matches tonight because not only do we have a lot of returns to CCW, but a lot of stories being told, but we're also going to have a birthday bash with Domino, and we're going to have a lot of fun here at Bash at the Brew like we always do. So Tyler, let's get that intro started so we can start talking about some of the matches that we have going on for tonight. And of course, our special guest, bring him in so he can join us and chat with us for a few minutes.
Let's get to it. Special guest indeed. I feel like every week we try to just up the ante. So this week, he made a little bit of a cameo last week, and we have to be talking about the man that is taking CCW by storm. He's been a damn foundation of CCW for all these years. You can't have a summer of S2S without S2S. Alan Martinez. Here is the man, two-time cruiserweight champion. She said puede. Hell yeah. How we doing, Alan?
Oh, very good, very good. Excited to be here for my first time. Last time I was just commented through.
Yeah, no, definitely. But you threw it out there the best, and no one was arguing with you, so.
Okay.
Exactly. And what better way to get yourself here on CCW Insider than doing what Alan did? He saw that we were live, decided to join our chat. So if you're one of the wrestlers here at CCW and you got something to say, hit us up on the chat, and maybe, just maybe, we'll invite you over here like Alan S2S Martinez, because he had a lot to say last week on our chat. So I'm very interested to find out what he has to say this week. Starting with that comment that you threw off last week, Alan, the greatest of CCW. And we had a conversation about this. So let's just elaborate a little bit about this, because for so long, Alan S2S Martinez has been seen as the underdog for CCW, right? But now that you've grown in your career here in Coastal Championship Wrestling, we're no longer seeing Alan S2 as the underdog. We're seeing Alan S2 as a possible contender for the CCW World Championship. So let's just talk a little bit about your growth here in CCW for the past couple of months and some of the matches that you've been involved with people like Stallion Rogers, right?
Well, I've been facing the best of CCW. I've been competing with Jackal Stevens, with Ariel, with Metal, and with everyone. I'll be, being like a good matches and excited matches. So I think it's my moment now. It's my moment to show to everyone that I can be the heavyweight champion of this company, because I not just deserve it, I earn it, and everyone can see it when the ring bell starts, and when every single match of my matches start. No one can say like Alan is not good, Alan is not good enough, Alan is small, because that's not true. The truth is Alan is one of the best, or the best of CCW. That's the truth.
And it takes notice, especially when your opponents, whether it's someone who's a veteran in the game or someone who is new trying to make a name for themselves here in CCW, the saying goes backstage that no one has ever had a bad match with Alan S2S Martinez. So I guess explain why is that, Alan?
Well, I'm working out like super hard. I've been working this past 10 years on my career to grinding my style, to create a good style with the Chilean, South American style, and now with this American wrestling style. So I've been competing with a long time with experience and new guys, and I'll do always like all that I got to make it happen like very good. And I think what my matches are really like, the crowd is always super excited. So that's the response there. What I'm doing is right. What I'm doing is well.
So I know you've had a lot of momentous matches these past couple of months, but which match would you say is the one that's stayed with you the most, as far as whether it pushed you to your limits, or it taught you something new about yourself, or it even brought out a side of you that you didn't even think you were going to be able to bring out to that match in particular?
Well, for me, Stallion compete with me so hard. They make me go to a different level. They are level who I never know that I can reach, and he give me that competition. I think these three matches was super good, and I'm happy that in the last one I take the win. So I think that was my best experience like recently, and took me for my next level. So now I'm here like thinking that I'm the best and I want to compete for the heavyweight championship.
But let's be honest, I know you've been asked this question time and time again. How bad did it hurt getting those chops from Stallion Rogers? I
Oh
know
my
a
God,
lot of
yeah.
us were there that one time that it literally sounded like a gun went off in the room. It was that hard. I was in the back. I was in another room, and I even heard it. And I had to stop what I was doing to ask myself, what was that? What did I just hear?
Well, yeah, he's a tough opponent to face because of that. But I got my things too. My elbows are hurting too. My kicks are hurting too. But I have a lot of resilience, and when you feel that pain here in the chest, that give me like passion and energy to keep fighting. To fighting more, and that make me angry a little bit. So I think that's a super good. That's why he give me like a great competition, and I feel like angry at the same time and competing with him. So those chops, it was bad at the moment, but I think they made me be stronger. Well, my chest now is from steel. Now it's like
The chest of steel. I like that. I
yeah,
want to
it's
throw it now
steel.
to either. I want to throw it now to you, either Lizzie or Tyler. I know Lizzie. We always talk about on here on CCW Insiders. And whenever the South American come aligns, I just see the light in your eyes bright up, because you like, not to play favoritism, but you're always behind these boys, and you always talk very highly of Alan and Ariel and Vinicius, respectfully, of course. So I just want to turn it to either of you and just bring up some things that you may have noticed with Alan S2S now that he's, becoming more of a home. He's already been a homegrown talent here at CCW, but he's really established himself as someone to watch in the near future here at CCW.
Yeah, I think Alan, obviously, thank you for putting me on the spot, Axel. I definitely think that there are certain people in CCW only because I started as a fan, right? So I used to come to the matches, and I remember like the people that stuck out to me are the people that I'm so happy to be able to work with. And obviously Alan's one of those people. All of the South American Alliance, let's just be honest, are those people as well. But particularly Alan, I think that in the last couple of years, just working with you, we've watched you grow, not in terms of just your skill, but also your confidence and your presence in the ring. Can you tell us a little bit about just kind of like that journey, like these last 2 years? Do you feel like a different Alan S2S versus who you were 2 years ago? Because I feel like you've broken out a lot on your own as well since then.
Well, I think I have more confidence now, and when as soon as I get here, it was more discovering like everything. The American style for me was so different, and the crowd reaction was hard too in the beginning. And now I think that how the crowd with me and how people chanting "Si se puede," how people doesn't even know Spanish saying "Si se puede," and for me that is very important. That's they really grow, because now I have not only my wrestling abilities, I got as well the support of the crowd, and I think that's super important. That's a thing that I've been built these 2 years.
100%. And Alan, I know I hear everybody call you this on commentary. I call you this definitely pound for pound best wrestler in CCW, in my opinion. Is there anybody specifically that you want to work with, or any fantasy, opponent that you would love to see come in and challenge you? Or
well, I don't see it as a fantasy opponent, but I really want to face Cutie Marshall for the heavyweight championship. I think I'm the only one who can really compete with him. And Jackal now is injured, so I think I can get that spot, and and I'm waiting for my CCW heavyweight match, because we already had that match before, but he called out. I don't know why, but I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for my opportunities. I'm waiting for be the top of the company, because in these 2 years I've been showing to everyone that I am the best.
Do you hear that, CCW management?
That's right. The match that never happened. I do remember it was CCW heavyweight champion QT Marshall and Alan Estes Martinez. I believe it was going to happen at one of the bashes, if I'm not mistaken, but it did not come to fruition.
Rumble in the Jungle.
Or Rumble in the Jungle. There you go. Rumble in the Jungle. There you go. Rumble in the Jungle 2. So
he was dealing with an injury. Had to call out on that one. That was definitely something. I was on commentary that night. That was a match I was very much looking forward to. I was thinking we could see an upset and a new champion, but I mean, at this point, you can't even call it an upset no more, because Alan, the summer of S2S is upon us. The Si Se Puede movement, you are the leader of this movement. Hey, Lizzie said, CCW management, do you hear it? They will hear it, Lizzie, when that crowd goes crazy like they always do for S2S. And not to turn things in a little more serious side, but Saturday, June 15th, Game of War. Alan, not a lot of people have been in this type of match. I know I don't believe you've been in this type of match, at least here in the last territory, this Game of War match. 2 rings, steel surrounding both sides of those rings. What are you doing mentally, physically? How are you preparing yourself for this type of match? Because we all know once you enter that type of match, no one leaves the same. And, Vinicius and Levy, even though last year they're on opposite sides, they were both in that match. I mean, how are you preparing? Are you talking to them? I couldn't even imagine how you feel going into that.
Well, I'm super excited because this time I'm on the match. Last time I was just like backing up my guys and make a big jump in a super cool moment last year. And I'm ready mentally to jump again. And with 2 rings, my abilities, I think this match is perfect for me because I have 2 rings in a big cage, and it's no DQ, so I can jump as a crazy guy and make crazy moments. So I'm super ready to that. I hope this happens soon because a lot of anxiety I had.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why. I mean, you are one of the best here in CCW. You look at new challenges, new mountains to just climb. You just want to jump off the cage even more. I mean, I can't wait to be there Saturday, June 15th, Game of War, but not to skip over Bash, because this Bash is very important. Going into this Bash, the advantage, whoever wins this multi-man tag team match, their team gets the advantage. That extra man advantage goes so long in these matches. I know you and South American Alliance must be game planning here for this Saturday.
Well, on my opinion, if you ask me, I don't care who starts that match. I just want to be in that match and, fighting and competing to win, because it's a hard match, because the match ends when everyone's are inside the cage. So for me, the advantage is not too much. So I'm not like my strategy on that. We're gonna like feel each other in a regular 8-man tag team match, and we can feel each other. And it's my first time that I'm gonna work with Danny Briggs, so I'm excited with that. But about the advantage, I hope we win because that's better for us. But if you don't, it doesn't matter for me, to be honest. I'm ready for all. I'm ready for all.
S2S, the one and only.
All right, Alan, and before you go, I just want to bring up that in this match you will be able to be tag teaming with your South American Alliance brothers, Ariel Levy and Vinicius, but now you're also going to be teaming with Cha-Cha Charlie and the legend himself, Gangrel. So how does this new addition to a team that you already have good chemistry with, how is this gonna work to your advantage in now planning a new strategy involving these two individuals that you guys don't necessarily team with but are very familiar with inside the ring?
Well, inside the cage last year, I faced Gangrel and Chacha. Now we're working together. But for me, it's so much an honor, like work with Gangrel, and his experience help us to get a better opportunities in the ring. And Chacha is cool too. I think we're gonna like enjoy that match, and the crowd is the one who really gonna enjoy it, because you have those two big stars, and you have us as a big faction, so it will be like really cool.
And last, before you go, last year you mentioned that you had a big moment in in Game of War, correct? What can we expect? Are you able to give us a little spoiler of what maybe fans could expect to see from Alan Estes Martinez this year? How are you going to one up yourself after leaping from the top of the cage?
Well, be ready to jump from your seats if you're there, because you never know what can happen. I can't give you like a spoiler, because if I feel it there, I'm going to do it. It's not like I have a plan, but I really know if it's two rings, I can jump over the ropes. I can do things on the ropes, and also we had the cage. I can climb the cage and jump like last time, or do a move to someone from the top of the cage. So it's not like that I have a plan, but it's just my style is very. I have a very good advantage of this kind of match because of my style.
All right. Well, you guys heard it here first from Alan Estes himself. We're going to be seeing him this Saturday at Bash at the Brew in that multi-man tag team match to determine who's going to get the advantage at Game of War June 15th at Port St. Lucie. Alan, thank you for joining us. I know you got to go, but it's been a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you this Saturday. And of course, if you guys want to see Alan Estes Martinez, get your tickets now at ccwrestlingfl.com, and don't miss out Bash at the Brew 41 to check out people like your favorites, Si Se Puede, the South American Alliance, Alan Estes Martinez. Thank you once again, my man.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm glad to be here. And remember, there's nothing impossible in this life. And I'm the guy who make the thing impossible possible, because si se puede, si se puede.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
Alan.
What an interview. What a time with Alan.
Awesome. Unbelievable. And I mean, Axel, we still got a whole card. Lizzie, I mean, we got this Bachelor Bruta breakdown. That was an awesome interview. We got a little tease for Game of War. Man, I cannot wait for that one. But before we get to that, let's little commercial break.
Hey, what's up? It is 12 Gauge Paige Van Zant. And as you know, I just transitioned into pro wrestling. And I wouldn't go anywhere else in South Florida other than CCW, where I get to train with David Gangrel.
And hey, speaking of the CCW training facility, the lead trainer there, the coach of coaches, Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior. And hey, he looks awfully familiar, doesn't he, guys? I could have sworn I just seen him.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
I saw him on TV this week, I think.
Yeah, no, making his return to AEW. Coach Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior, going out there making the save for old Cope. Man, I mean, Gangrel, he always finds his way into cage matches, right? Last year, the Game of the War in the cage matches. This time he felt it. He was like, I need to be in a cage. So he just climbs on out, and so he's already getting ready for Game of War. But before that, we got to talk about our number one show, the biggest show in South Florida, the hottest show. That's Bash at the Brew. We're already at Bash 41. The last territory just keeps on rolling. And, man, what a card this looks like. So, Axel, how about we just get started off, right?
Yeah, Bash at the Brew 40 was a big card. And like we always say time after time, every Bash at the Brew is just going to outdo the previous one. And what better way than to outdo the previous Bash at the Brew than the matches that we have lined up for you guys. So, Tyler, what are we going to be talking about first?
Oh, let's kick it off with some big beef. We got some meat in this ring. We got Madman Fulton making his return to the last territory, taking on the sexiest man alive, Eddie Valentine, with, of course, Joe Garcia, your sole survivor, at his side. And, man, you got to be wondering, Axel, where's Eddie Valentine's head at right now after what Joe Garcia pulled on him? The student using the master's tricks against him, becoming the sole survivor. Now he's got to step in against Madman Fulton. I don't know how Eddie's chances look in this one.
Well, when talking about what happened at Soul Survivor at Breakout this past weekend, I talked to both Eddie and Joe, and they talked it out. They chalked it to, you know what, there was a great moment for Joe who capitalized on the opportunity, and that's what it comes to in matches like these. Yes, you have friends in the ring, but at the end of the day, when it comes to just a Soul Survivor stipulation and there can only be really one determined winner, Joe Garcia knew what he had to do. And it's not anything different from what Eddie said he would have done as well. So I think that there's not going to be any tension really going on with the Night Riders. I think they're still going to be even stronger than ever, especially when taking on someone like Madman Fulton, who we know is a powerhouse anywhere he goes to. So that's what I think Eddie is going to need to really keep in mind or be mindful or careful of when going toe-to-toe with Madman Fulton. Is just his strength. That man can just pick you up and toss you to the other side of the ring, and I'm pretty sure he could do the same with someone like Eddie Valentine.
I mean, just good points across the board. Lizzie, which big man's going to have the advantage in this one?
Well, I mean, Fulton is, like Axel said, he's a very, very big, very agile man as well. He's a former BRCW heavyweight champion as well. We've seen a lot of him. Side note, he has the coolest music. Sorry, I always have to make a mention of his music. But I mean, Eddie is a wily veteran, and we have to remember that Eddie always has Joe by his side. Like, you know, I think that they've put the Soul Survivor stuff behind them, and I think that those two, they have each other's back. So I think that Eddie kind of has that home court advantage. So I think that this is really too close to call, but I'm going to say the Night Riders, they come out on top regardless of how they win. I think that Joe's going to give Eddie a little assist, and Fulton needs to be careful.
Now, the Night Riders always finding a way, it seems like, no matter what. You get a monster in there, you get a former champion in there, but Madman Fulton, he kills it everywhere he goes. I mean, you see him all over the place. The guy just nonstop puts in the work. I mean, the last match I called from him, he just dish rags skits. I mean, that was just like a massacre in the ring. And so it's going to be interesting to see what has he picked up, how much more has he improved when he's in there with Eddie Valentine. I mean, just a big man match. Can't wait for it. And then a very different speed here. We're going to be having Domino's birthday celebration with his people, with the domination at Hialeah Unbranded Brewery. I don't know what we're going to expect. Hey, it's pro wrestling. Nothing bad happens at birthday celebrations, guys.
Exactly. But what I do know, I was actually talking to Domino and asked him for the inside scoop as to, hey, what can we expect from this birthday celebration of yours? All that I got is that it's going to be one of a very Domino themed birthday. If you know Domino, then you know there's going to be a lot of café con leche. There's going to be good beer. There's going to be a lot of Cuban treats, because we know Domino has a very strong Latino background, right? He's Cuban American, and he always shows that in the ring. He's very cultural, and he loves and respects his community, and that's what I appreciate about Domino. So it wouldn't be a Domino party without any special treats, and I know he's going to be doing some collaboration with some local businesses in the area to bring a little taste of Domino to the CCW fans. And I personally can't wait to try out exactly what he brings, because I know we're going to get a little taste of whatever's going to be there, and that's always going to be my favorite part. Whenever they've handed out the new beers that they were making over at Unbranded, I know that I was first in line to ask, yes, please, and thank you. I'm quite parched.
Yeah, no, Unbranded Brewery always coming out with the crazy beers. Lizzie, I know you're invited to the party. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it, but I know you're going to be trying to keep up with it no matter what. What do you think's going to happen? I mean,
well, first I want to say hi, Amy, because Amy.
Yes, let's shout out Amy.
Amy. I mean, have you guys seen Domino's crew? Like, They
That's true.
travel with him. So
Headed
I
by
feel like
Mama Domino. Headed by Mama Domino.
Momino and Co. They're everywhere. So I really just feel like it's gonna be like a club in there, guys. Just get ready.
Mm-hmm.
And
that
Boss
is true.
B,
That is true.
look at Boss B asking the real questions. Is ERA invited? You know, I don't think he is, but he might not need an invitation. We're gonna have to see.
I mean, he's going to already be in the building because he's going to be in that 8-man tag team match. Who's to say he doesn't make a quick detour before his match that same night? But you know what? I don't know. I don't know.
We're going to have to see. Johnny B. Good's going to be there for the cafecito. And listen, it's going to be a good time no matter what. I mean, wrestling, birthdays, they go hand in hand. And let's just go straight to our next match. We got this, man. You want to talk about having a match circled over and over again. Alex Chamberlain, I call him the bully of CCW because he just goes in there and dish rags guys, versus Jay Vidal. Jay has been everywhere. He's a damn TNA star. I'm pretty sure he's been every other company you could think of. Guy just kills it everywhere he goes. I had the pleasure of calling his match at last Rumble in the Jungle. Unbelievable match. And here we go. He's back in the last territory. And you want to talk about getting in there head first. Run into Alex Chamberlain is like running into a brick wall. Lizzie, what do we think about this one?
First, I'm just so happy to see Jay Vidal back. Like
Absolutely.
He's been gone too long. Like, Jay, don't ever leave us for this long again. Chad, yes, let him fight. Thanks, Chad. That's what we intend to do.
Yeah.
I definitely do think that this is a match of the night contender. I mean, you have just such a contrast in styles. And these two, they also like just know each other very well, just, working together for the last, God knows how many years. But I mean, Jay he's a more agile person. Alex is just like you said, he's a big, strong guy. I'm now calling Alex the most dangerous man to ever walk the earth. When he walks into that ring, I clear out, as you guys noticed.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be next to him. But I'm gonna say I'm giving this one to Jay. He's probably gonna surprise us for his return to Bash.
He's done it before. I don't know, Axel. Do you think he could pull it off?
Well, what I do know is that this is going to be a very full circle moment for Jay Vidal. I don't know if you guys noticed, but on social media, he did mention that it was 10 years ago that he saw he went to his very first independent wrestling show, and who was in that main event but none other than Alex Chamberlain. And now this Saturday at Bash at the Brew, he's going to have the opportunity to step inside the ring with a man that probably inspired him to want to get into the ring, especially when you go to these local independent wrestling shows and you make that intimate connection with these local wrestlers that you probably don't make when you go to these other big name company shows. But to know that Jay Vidal is going to have an opportunity to step into the ring with someone that he probably has looked up to as a mentor in this business and has worked with him personally here at CCW, it's going to be very interesting. I don't really have a solid prediction because, like you mentioned, Jay Vidal has recently made a statement that he's back to CCW, and he's been having some really big name matches with AJ Francis, just to name a few. But when thinking of Alex Chamberlain, I feel like he's been on a path of destruction, especially since not really getting his way when he was challenging for the CCW World Championship. And he's been coming and going from the last territory, but every time he comes back, he doesn't miss a step inside the ring, and he just comes back a lot more aggressive than the last time that we've seen him. So it really can go down in anyone's favor, but I would be careful of Alex Chamberlain because we know that you mentioned he's the bully of CCW, right? You don't want to get into the ring with a man as skilled and as ruthless as Alex Chamberlain, I would say.
Yeah, ruthless. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. I mean, these two really seem like in the last territory, they're on that collision course. Like it was only a matter of time. They're both racking wins, big wins. And right here, this seems like title implications in the future, whether it be Southeastern Championship, the Cruiserweight Championship for Jay if he wants to go back down that route, Heavyweight Championship. I mean, these are two big names that if you get the one win over the other name, it could propel you right into championship opportunity. And what a card this is shaping up to be. And then next, we got the daughter of the damned, Kelsey Reagan, in action. We don't know who she's going to be competing against, but whoever it is, they better watch out, Axel, because She scares me. You could chalk her in with the NVIDIA crew and everybody else. That why do we have to have all these spooky people? They terrify me. I mean, most of the time I hide under the commentary desk and just guess what they're doing, because like I just don't want to be in their targets. Axel, I know you've seen her in action plenty of times. Tell us a little bit more about her.
Well, I think that this kind of stipulation for this match, where we don't know the opponent and Kelsey doesn't even know her own challenger at this point, really suits to her favor, because if we've seen a pattern, or I've noticed a pattern with Kelsey Reagan, she is either a last-minute addition to a match, or there's a last-minute implication to one of her own matches, and whatever it is, she has been coming out on top, whether it's been a Rumble in the Jungle to triple threat, or even a Conquer Kissimmee in a triple threat. Kelsey Reagan has put the women's division on notice that she's here and she's not someone to take lightly. She's someone that you actually should be concerned with, because she has been picking up a lot of notable wins, and that could just mean one thing: a future CCW Women's Championship opportunity in the future for someone like Kelsey Reagan, who has been making a name for herself here in the last territory in the past couple of our shows. So I think whatever opponent she's thrown in at the last minute is going to be both a challenge for not only Kelsey to try to figure something out at that moment, but also for her, whoever her opponent may be, to take on someone like Kelsey Reagan, who has a bit of a mean streak, just a little bit,
just a little bit, a lot of it,
just a little bit. Yeah. But someone I think that she'll get along real well in our locker room with is Gangrel, right? They're both maybe vampire type.
She's very vampire-esque.
Creature, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have the confirmation yet if she's a vampire. Maybe Gangrel, can let us know about that. Lizzie, what do you think about Kelsey?
Well, I think obviously anytime that you're walking into a situation and you don't know your opponent, it's always difficult, because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to prepare for. And who's to say that her opponent hasn't been already watching Kelsey? So they might be having a little bit of a leg up on her. If obviously they might be ready for her if she's not ready for them. So, but like you guys said, Kelsey definitely has a mean streak. Kelsey is, extremely skilled in the ring, and she's, been around CCW for some time. So I think she's ready to handle anything that we throw at her.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see who she competes against. And this next match, oh boy, man, you look at this card and you're like, it's hard to say match of the night, but guys, I think this one is it for me. You got the Cruisermeister, Ozzy Killmeister, defending that Cruiserweight Championship. He made a promise to this man last Bash at the Brew 40. He said, Skits, if I win this Cruiserweight Championship, you are my best friend. You are my tag team partner. You get the first shot. And Skits, man, he was excited when he heard that, but really, I think psychologically, he's going to that deep, dark place. One of those personalities are coming out, because we saw him at Breakout. He just looked different, and he released a video from a boiler room or somewhere, and it's just a different Skits that it looks like we're dealing with. Maybe a darker, more serious Skits. I think these two, they're best friends, but I think best friends fight the most, and I think they're going to go to war with each other. What do you think, Axel?
Well, I think when it comes to two competitors who are in a tag team and are now put in a match stipulation where they're being pinned against each other, I think that kind of friendly competition brings out the best in both competitors. And I think that's what we're going to see this Saturday when it comes to Ozzy and Skits going toe-to-toe for the Cruiserweight Championship, which is going to add a lot more implication to this match. Am I right? So when it comes down to this, I've always said Skits is a type of superstar that is unpredictable. He's a wild card. You never know exactly what he's going to bring to the table. And like you mentioned, this past weekend at Breakout, we're seeing this new side of Skits that we're not very familiar with. It may be seeing that, though I always said this, that when it comes down to the ring, you can be friends, but at the end of the day, it's business when that bell rings. So if you have to face one of your friends and your title is on the line, you have to push that or put that to the side and not view that person with that sentimental or emotional feeling of this is my friend, and view this is someone who's a threat to me. And I think Ozzy needs to get into a little bit of that mindset, especially because it's someone like Skits. And he knows, who else knows Skits better than Skits than probably Ozzy. So he probably should be taking this side of Skits a little bit more serious and not really look at this through the eyes of I'm about to be facing my friend is pretty cool, which is going to be pretty cool. I'm actually really excited for this match, but rather I'm going to have to be facing a competitor who I know can be unpredictable, that I know he's going to bring his A game. So if I want to retain my title, it's going to be a do or die moment. But I like last time I mentioned one of these matches with Ariel, I believe, and Ozzy. I just hope both have fun. And
I don't think that's happening.
I can't say like, oh yeah, my prediction is for this or that, because I just can't bring my heart just to pick one or the other. So I'm gonna just wish that both men have fun in there and have a good, healthy competition between them.
You do know who we're talking about. It's Ozzy Killmeister and Skits, the most insane tag team in Monster Mosh, going to war against each other. Lizzie, will we see a new champion? Maybe a new schizophrenic champion?
Well, guys, I mean, like we said, right? They're best friends. But we have to remember that Skits is so multifaceted. And I feel like Skits is able to tap into such a dark place inside of himself. And I'm not saying that Ozzy can't, right? But I think that we don't know what we don't know about Skits. So I really think that if he wants it bad enough, he can dig really deep down. And I think that he can really surprise us with the way that he's going to put on with Ozzy this weekend at Bash. So obviously these two are such crowd favorites. Like it's so like sometimes when I'm announcing, when the crowd figures out who's coming, they start going crazy already that like you literally can't even hear the rest of what I'm saying because like they're just so excited to see them. So I don't think that there's necessarily going to be a loser for the fans in this regard. Obviously that belt is Ozzy's baby. I don't think he's going to let it go so easy. And at the end of the day, as Bobby Heenan used to say, Ozzy doesn't have to beat Skits. Skits has to beat Ozzy. So,
pulling out the quotes. Okay. Tone Entertainment says, "Can they both win?" That's what we're all hoping for, but no, only
That's
one
what
man.
I'm hoping for, at least.
Only one man can walk out for that Cruiserweight Championship, and what a big Cruiserweight Championship match that is going to be at Bash of the Brew 41. But it's Bash of the Brew. We're not done yet. We got your main event, the Game of War Advantage match. It's an 8-man tag with the one team being the South American Alliance, teaming up with Cha-Cha Charlie, taking on Danny Briggs and Stallion Rogers with the tag team champions, the crown by their side. Guys, this is such an important match because whoever wins gets that extra man. They get that extra man in Game of War, that time to lay in more punishment, that 2-on-1 at the very beginning. And then at the end, when you have to wait for your last partner to come out, everyone is outnumbered the whole time. So it's going to be interesting to see. You know, Alan S2S earlier, he had a very laid back approach, which that's what S2S does. He doesn't care. It's like, oh, give them the advantage. But we know the crown. We know Danny Briggs. We know Stallion. They want that advantage. They're coming out there for heads and blood. They are going to do whatever it takes to get that advantage. And, you know, how is the dynamic with South American Alliance and Cha-Cha going to work throughout this one? It's going to be something to keep an eye out. Axel, what are your thoughts?
Well, if you have not been following this story for the past couple of months, you would know that these 8-men have just been beating the living hell out of each other at any given opportunity. It's taken security, refs, extra people that we have in the back to break them up when all-out brawl has broken out, whether it be at our Bash of the Brew shows, at Port St. Lucie, wherever these men have been around each other in the locker room and they've had a match, it has always resulted in the same thing. Every single one of them coming out and just starting a fight. So I'm not sure who's going to be reffing this Saturday, that match in particular, but may God help them because they're going to need it in order to keep control of these 8 individuals who just want to tear each other apart, and especially because that implication of having that advantage for Game of War is going to be highly critical. You want to have, I would think that for a match like that, you would want to have the advantage of having your team have the opportunity to have your multiple team members of yours come in at a more rapid rate than your opposing team, correct? So it's going to have a lot to play. There's going to be a lot riding on this match, but who's going to actually come out on top? I can't tell you, because both teams have men that I know are going to just tear the house down, whether it's going to be the Crown or Vinicius. And there's going to be so many different style of combinations that we might see in the ring, and Danny Briggs getting to the ring with Vinicius, or Ariel Levy and one half of the Crown again. And we saw that they left everything out of the ring at Anniversary 20th, and they have unfinished business if I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, South American Alliance and the Crown. So there's just a lot riding on this match and a lot of just tension. I feel like once we show up at the Unbranded Brewing Company this Saturday, the tension is going to be so high that you can be able to cut it with a knife between these men. Yeah.
Of course. And look at this, Chad laughing at the idea of Cha-Cha and Ariel getting along. Lizzie, what do you think? Will they be able?
Yeah.
Chad is asking questions tonight. Chad, take it easy, brother. Tyler, can you pull up the graphic one more time just so that I can dissect this properly?
Of course.
Okay. So here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
All right. Sit back now.
Let's look here very closely. So South American Alliance, those three are like brothers. The Crown, they are brothers. Let's keep that there, right? And then obviously throwing Cha-Cha into the mix with the South American Alliance, regardless of, Chad asked an interesting question. Can Ariel and Cha-Cha get along, whatever? It doesn't matter. You know why? Because they know each other so well. I think that the four of these guys, they're pillars in CCW for the last few years. They fought against each other. They fought with each other. Hate it or love it, hate each other or love each other. They're very much, meshed together. And then looking on the other side of things, we have Leonis and Maximus. They're brothers. They've been together their entire lives. You don't get closer than that, right? But we have two mean men with them. We have Danny Briggs and we have Stallion Rogers, both very successful and very accomplished outside of CCW, from, NXT UK for Danny Briggs, as well as for Stallion Rogers as well. And, with the international experience, but can these four come together and make a cohesive unit? That's really going to be the difference maker in a match like this. So time will tell. But I'm going to say, because Cha-Cha and Ariel and Vinicius and Alan, they've done this dance together before, that definitely gives them the advantage.
It's going to be such a spectacle of a match. I mean, you're going to get the spectacle before the spectacle. I mean, 8-man tag match. The 8 of the best probably in CCW. I mean, if you had a top 10, I think all 8 of those guys would be in it. And it's just going to be so much stake, so much at the line, leading us to Game of War. You have to get your tickets for Bash of the Brew 41. You have to see who is going to get that advantage. And then, of course, you got to get your tickets to Game of War next Saturday. And with that, I think Bash of the Brew has been covered. And, guys, I think it's about time we wrap it up. So, Axel, why don't you tell our fans, what they got to do?
What you guys have to do is do several things, actually. So let's start at the beginning. Well, what you're going to want to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? That's CCW Alive TV, where you can catch CCW Live Wrestling every Tuesday at 7 p.m. to catch up on some of the matches that you may have missed if you weren't able to attend in person, or just to see some of our full shows that we're able to upload on there. I know one of our popular shows, Bash of the Brew, you get the full 2 hours, guys, from start to finish. What better than that? And you can only get that kind of content on our YouTube channel. But while you're at it, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, follow us on CCW Live TV as well, so you can stay up to date with the match cards that are coming out. What shows and what venues are we going to be in next? Because you never know where you can expect the last territory, right? And we're always expanding, so that's the great thing about that. And the only way to find out is by sticking to our socials, right? And also every Wednesday around 7:30. Around 7-ish, right? 7-ish. Yeah. We'll just leave it at 7-ish.
We love that ish.
Yeah. That's 7-ish. You guys can join us here at CCW Insider for just some really cool stuff that we talk about, like interviews with Alan SOS Martinez, Ozzy Killmeister. We have a lot of different guys and gals that are messaging us that I've talked to as well that want to be part of this. So we're definitely working to set that up for you guys. But other than that, the most important thing is going to ccwrestlingfl.com, purchasing your tickets for Bash at the Brew this weekend, or Havoc and Hayes in Tampa next weekend, or then Conquer Kissimmee the weekend after that, or then Rumble in the Jungle. We have a lot of shows. I can go on for another maybe. Yeah, I can go on for another 5 to 10 minutes just about where we're going to be and when, but I don't want to bore you guys. But that's just going to be really the cool rundown about it. Follow us on our socials, on YouTube, and also check out CCW Insider for some of the latest knowledge that we can provide for you guys. And of course, always get your tickets in advance or at the door if you guys are one of those people. I'm not going to judge. You guys can wait till the last minute, but I would not trust that because some of our shows get sold out, or when you get there and you're expecting to find a seat, surprise. Yeah, exactly. Standing room only, and have fun with that. But you know what? We invite everyone. Who cares? If you're standing up for 2 hours, you're going to have a good time anyway. So get your ticket at ccwrestlingfl.com. But I think with that, that pretty much wraps up this week's episode of CCW Insider, guys.
Anything, Lizzie?
No closing remarks. Thank you, gentlemen. It's always
absolute blast always with you guys. Every Wednesday, you can check us out. Fans, buy those tickets, listen to Axel, and we will see you next week.
You have been watching CCW Insider, produced by Minutes to Bell Time in association with